We are here to make your Wednesday evening lit, to talk about the Kenyan car market as well as take your questions, because this show will be segmented into two. Well, number one, we're going to have the Q&A, and number two, we are going to have the updates on the new CRSP, and we are going to be joined by Tom later because there are some interesting things that have come into light about implementation of the new CRSP by the Kenya Revenue Authority. But first of all, likuwasalimia. By the way, if you're live with us, unaweza tuma salamu hapa so that we get to read your salamus, and kama kawaida, tell us where you're watching us from. Na naona watu hawajaingia, so we can start by giving you a glimpse of what has been happening. Naona Aunties Mwads ako tayari, anasema vipi mwalimu, he's in like Maureen. Ule mse mwingine anasemanga we are in like Maureen, ako wapi? Karibu sana Aunties. Naona Benson Otonda tuned in from Kitale, eagerly waiting for the alluring experience. Karibu sana Benson. We have Harmless Level ako ndani kabisa. Identity Rides anasema sound is awesome. Identity mambo, ile ni sansani yetu bana, watu wanasema unauza pesa mingi. Nawaambia si gari inauzwa bei ghali, ni wao hawafiki bei. Ama namna gani? Si namna hiyo? Nice. Watu wanakuja, naona kuna Calvin Queens anasema ako hapa watching from Nairobi City. Moses Mwangi from Gekambura pale ni area za Ndeya, Kikuyu huko. Cyrus Kiba anasema leo uko mweupe aje, watching from where, Kirinyaga County. Ni utamu wa Yesu bwana. Anthony Mwangi anasema salams. We have Bryson Lopez, Bryson Murimi watching from Meru, Bantoma Meru. Charles Kihongi anasema hello Charles from Ruiru Bypass. Watu wa Ruiru pia wako ndani. Jose Nderi, mambo namna gani, watching from Dadaab Garissa. Karibu sana Jose, and salimia watu wa Dadaab sana. We have K.E. Mbugwa is in. Anthony Mwangi so wametoka kule St. Louis, Missouri. Kule ni United States of America. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Hesbon Nyamete tuned in from Mogadishu, Somalia as usual. By the way, we have been having some calls also from our brothers in Somalia about the Mazda CX-5 and their DPF delete. Ninaonekana huko Somalia zinasumbua kidogo. We also have Cryptopedia from Nyahururu. Huko najua baridi ndio mingi watu wa Nyahururu. We have Muriuki Marigi ndani kabisa. James Morigi from Nairobi. Harmless Level. Harmless Level anasema ati kuna whips for not going live last Wednesday. Lakini last Wednesday bana, hata si tungeendea live wapi? Mlikuwa umefunga Thika Road. And you know, tunakuanga live from Trio Complex. Si ndio wazee? Bana, so hiyo pia nyinyi tuelewe. Si alafu hiyo time tensions were high. We needed to think straight. We needed to be very sober about our country. Acha tuone nani mwingine yako hapa. I don't want to leave out anyone. We also have Jim Dukes from Utawala, Martin Nyamnumba from Naivasha kama kawaida, Edwin Mayo from Mumias, Samuel Mongai. Mumias pia ni kwa ule rafiki yetu anaitwa Suleiman Wesonga, the chief technician wa Trooper. Pia yeye kutoka mahali kunaitwa Mumias Ekero. Wasalimie sana. Samuel Muigai from Kenol. Karibu sana Samuel. Manuel anasema he's from Kitengela. Calvin Queens. Sawa, so tuingie watu wakiendelea. Okay. Anasema my friend, this is Mash, big up your first shoot in the market. Tulikuwa na wewe huko Limuru Tea Farm. Hii jani imekuwa ni God manze. Asante sana Mashauto bana. Asante. Thank you so much. So let's as more guys come in, let's get to the serious stuff. Also overseer bana ako Northlands. Watu wanaishi vizuri. Alafu wanasema ati naona challenge kwa meza. VW mzee versus Range Rover. Magari hapa, mambo ni live. Naona mnaziona. So let's get to the Q&A. But first of all, the interesting bits. Last week, the other weekend tulikuwa mahali kunaitwa Marsabit ndani ya 1985 Isuzu Trooper, and that trip was lit. We have an amazing video on it. and it was at least a good day out for the team here. I was joined by Andy, Masha, and Suleiman for that trip. It was quite an amazing trip, and on that video we are going to be experimenting and explaining something about a certain new fuel that is in the market, a new formulation of fuel that is in the market. Also, pia there's something else pia nilikuwa nataka kuambia. We also got to drive the new Land Cruiser. The new Land Cruiser 79 that is coming with a 1GD FTV engine. So we have moved from the 1HZ and the 1VD, and now we are going to the 4-cylinder 1GD on the Land Cruiser. And guess what? The 79 will also have an automatic option. Yes. And this has brought, I posted that on my Twitter, on my X account, and on my Facebook as well. Na ilileta debate sana. Not many people want the Land Cruiser to go manual. So it has been a center. Land Cruiser purists are not happy, but hey, let's give it time so that we can get to see how that vehicle performs. So let's head over to the Q&A session. Kuna mtu alikuwa ameuliza. Dennis Katali is also from Somalia. Asante sana Dennis Katali. Tony Otienka from Koyonzo. Koyonzo nitawaambia story ya Koyonzo one time. Next week nitawapatia story ya Koyonzo. Kuna shule hapo ilikuwa inaitwa Koyonzo bwana. But nitawaambia hiyo maneno yake next week. Aya. The other thing, by the way, remember we can serve you in Eldoret through one of our subsidiaries, Neon Mobility Eldoret. Iko pale Pioneer. Unaweza tembelea, utapata mzee mzima Ezekiel pale, and they'll serve you very well. And thank you so much, by the way, to the people of Eldoret for supporting Neon Mobility. Na sisi pale tunaendelea, tunawapatia kazi safi, si ndio? Okay, turudi kwa Q&A hapa. And we are going to have this Q&A for a while, and then we are going to have some updates on direct importation. Also, another update. Yesterday we got to head over to Mombasa, and this is something that we need to discuss about hire purchase. And one funny thing is that we are able to get a payment plan of up to 30 months. So yes, in case you're interested in hire purchase, direct importation, and also asset financing for units locally, remember, we are your go-to people. And the reason why 30-month repayment plan on hire purchase is a big deal, especially for a small car. This is because you're able to pay installments that are at par with bank rates around. So that's a plus, because you see, with especially for people who are in business, getting a 30-month repayment plan without even anyone asking for your bank statements or even your CRB status, a hire purchase opens up credit facilities even for people who are in informal businesses. And that is why we normally try our best to also guide you when it comes to hire purchase terms. But remember, you're able to get this kind of payment plans through negotiations, and we can guide you on that through our hire purchase sourcing package. Unaweza tupigia kwa ile namba yetu pale 0710844863, na naona Mr. Andy hajaiweka kwa screen leo, lakini atawekea hapo. Naona ameshacheza na Neon Mobility. So tuende kwa Q&A. Calvin Queens is asking, if I'm on a budget between Mazda Axela and Toyota Caldina, the last version that was released ilikuwa inaitwa Caldina Sambusa, sababu Caldina kulikuwa na Caldina ya nyama na Caldina ya sambusa. If you use those terms, people tend to understand them better. So he was saying, which one would you choose for a rural with a rough road setting? Of course, one thing about the Mazda Axela is that it was more economical on fuel compared to the Caldina ya Sambusa, but both cars are very, very reliable. Now the Caldina ya Sambusa looked, I reckon, from my point of view, ilikuwa inakaa fiti. The triangular design language from the headlights, the tail lights, alafu that the hatchback look, it was very sporty, especially if you would get a clean one. Kwa looks ilikuwa sawa, but if you're looking, okay, so the Caldina will win in two things. One, reliability and availability of parts, and also reliability of parts. Now the Mazda Axela is going to win in terms of fuel economy, and it's also reliable. But where that first generation Axela loses is sometimes unaweza tafuta vitu sana za hiyo Axela, because those times the Axelas were not many. In fact, the Axela has come to be very popular with the second generation Axela, but the first generation was not that popular. However, it does not mean that it was not a good car. No, it was a very good car, very reliable, very economical on fuel, and ukitafuta vitu zake utapata, and they are not very expensive. So it depends. If fuel economy is something to consider, then go for the Axela. If fuel economy is not something to consider, tilt towards the Caldina side. Tuendelee. Who else? There is somebody, Brian Mawera from Chogoria, karibu sana. Okay, then tuendelee kwa hizi maswali zingine. Who else? I'm looking for. There is also Kevin N from Lakisama, karibu. 434 is asking, watching from Roiro, great show. Budget ya Axela diesel, fast car. What's your take, Wakabi? If it's a car that is meant to be driven, kama unaendeshanga gari sana, it's okay. You can get the diesel, but also do not abuse the diesel. Make sure timely service. Also make sure that that coolant junction pipe is the metallic one, not the plastic one, because the plastic one grows brittle over time. But the latest ones are coming in zikiwa sawa. So also make sure the quality of fuel is good, and also oil, because of we have the EGR on this car, so just make sure it does not get clogged, because if the EGR gets clogged, alafu hapo tunaanza maneno ingine. But it's a good vehicle, very economical on fuel. When it comes to the torque, you're going to have fun with that car, especially on the open road. So kama ni hii new shape, the new shape is coming with it's not coming with a 2.2 liter. The latest one is not coming with a 2.2 liter. I think it's coming with a 1.5 diesel, ile iko kwa Demio, and there is also a 1.8 diesel, if I'm not wrong. That is for the latest ones from 2018. Hizi zinaitwa Mazda 3, si Mazda Axela, because the Axela had the 2.2 liter diesel or the 1.5 liter diesel. So if you're buying it as the Axela, go for the 2.2 liter diesel. Manze, that engine will, ukiangalia power to weight ratio ya Axela, it will be the best for an Axela. So if you're buying it as an Axela, take the 2.2 diesel. Tuko pamoja? Haya, twende. I hope that was well answered, Bwana 434. We have Elmond from Eldoret. Elmond, na utembee pale Neon Mobility. We have Simon Mwema Peter watching from Mombasa. Simon is our clearing agent pale Mombasa. Najua umemuona kwa video moja mbili pale nikiweka pale Instagram. Simon is the one who does the clearing for all our imports that we are doing. And currently, by the way, our strategic partnership with Grande Motor Imports has gone really well. We are growing our pipeline, tunaletea watu magari, and we are still continuing to teach people about importation, and even getting very good grade cars through importation. So we are going to do that, and asante sana Saimo for always giving us a good job. Tuendelee na hii. Patrick Yoko is watching from Nasra. Yes, karibu sana Patrick. Julius Anari is asking, hello, for a budget of 1.5 million, should I go for a W204 or an Atenza? Moving from an Auris 2009 1500cc, looking for a little bit of class, reliability, and at least an average fuel economy. I'm not a speed guy. So if you're looking at the W204 and the Mazda Atenza, those are two cars that I believe, if your budget is 1.5, I think for the W204 you'll be looking for a locally used one, probably between hapo 2012 2013, around 2012 thereabout. For the Mazda Atenza you can get again slightly newer, 2014 2015. However, now comparing these two cars, if you're looking for class, okay, this is my personal opinion. The Mazda Atenza looks better compared to the Mercedes-Benz W204. Ukiangalia W204 na uangalia Atenza, you know Atenza, Mazda Skoda design language, it looks very stylish, very modern. The W204 does not look bad. In fact, it looks very conservative, It's very mature as well. And now this is the other significant difference. The W204 is a C-class. The Atenza is a larger sedan. So in terms of spacing, the Atenza has more space compared to the W204. The Atenza would be best compared to an E-class because even of the wheelbase and all that. So, but comparing the Mercedes-Benz W204 and the Atenza, to be honest, I think the Atenza would be more value for money in terms of, no, the W204 is a good car. It's a Mercedes-Benz, the best of nothing. It will give you class. The badge will give you class, but it's not a head turner. The W204 is not a head turner comparing it to even a 2015 Mazda Atenza. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you for free. But if you're a Mercedes-Benz purist, the W204, I know Mercedes-Benz purists will not be happy with this, but this is something that we have to be very honest about. So the 204 is a mature vehicle, very conservatively designed, a bridge between luxury and economy. Quite a good performer. The 274, no, yeah, the 274, not very bad with the 274. Good fuel economy, strikes a balance between, okay, now you also get, in terms of forced induction, you'll get it as turbocharged, and you can also get it as a supercharged, that is compressor. One thing I love about compressors is that the compressor whine really sounds awesome. But if you were to ask me between a W204 and a Mazda Atenza, I would go for the W204 because I like it. I like how conservative it is. But most young guys who are looking for class will tend to lean towards the Atenza because the Atenza looks a little bit more trendy. Wale watu wanakubaliana na mimi, tuongee pale kwa comments. Sawa, CRSP is saying, explain to me the difference between a diff lock and the center diff lock and the rear diff lock. I find it on my Mitsubishi Pajero V46. Hii central lock differential ni nini? Okay. Diff locks. What do diff locks do? Diff locks make sure that your haya tuko na Range Roader hapa. So assuming you're driving on a slippery surface. Hii iko na solid dark, so hii haiwezi. So basically when you lock your diff, your tires spin like this. Unaona vile zinaenda? They would spin like this when the diff is locked. Let us start from the basics. There is something that is called a differential in the car. What is the purpose of a differential? The purpose of a differential is to make sure that the two tires, this tire and this one, or the two wheels, can spin at different speeds. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo. So sometimes them spinning at different speeds make sure that the vehicle can have superior handling when cornering, or even when turning, because when you're turning this side, if you're turning left, it means this wheel will cover a larger radius compared to this one. So that is the purpose of a differential lock, to enable this to spin or to move at a different speed compared to this one. So when you lock your diff, this would be mostly in a slippery surface, ama mahali gari inateleza, ama mahali gari imeinua mguu moja juu, because ideally if this was a rear wheel drive vehicle na iname kidogo, what typical Mark X's do, utakuwa unakanyaga mafuta, gari haiendi mahali, but hii mguu inazunguka, hii haizunguki. So when you lock your diff like you would do in a Toyota Hilux, a Pajero, most modern day four-wheel drive vehicles, it will lock the differential to make sure that these two wheels are spinning at the same speed and at the same time. Could define hivi. Now this is how they would spin when the diff is locked. Umeelewa? So what is a front diff, a center diff, and a rear diff? So if you have your diff lock hapa na hapa, like in a Prado VXL, a Prado VXL has two diff locks. It has a center diff and it has a rear diff. A Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon has three diff locks: a front diff lock, a center diff lock, and a rear diff lock. But now umeuliza kuhusu center diff lock. So now the center diff lock would probably be at the middle here. Sawa, where you have a prop shaft coming to these wheels and another prop shaft coming. We call them, let's not call them, for the front, let's call it drive shaft, or anyway, prop shaft. So you will have a center diff here. And this is to make sure that torque is distributed 50-50 to both wheels. I hope that your lesson utanipigia tupige hii story. I know it can get a little bit complicated, but now umeelewa a center diff. You have by now you understand what a diff lock is. So you have a front diff lock, a center diff lock, and a rear diff lock. But all of them serve the same purpose. They make sure that all the axles are spinning at the same speed. Tuendelee. Modhoni is asking, Wakabi, would you recommend a Toyota Race over a 2008 Peugeot? Nasikia Peugeot ni money pit. What I would say is Toyota Race is simpler compared to a 2008. First of all, a 2008 with the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder engine, it has what is called, one, the engine is belt driven. Secondly, it has what is called a wet timing. So, meaning you have to change your timing belt after a certain mileage, which normally is 100,000 kilometers. But for the Race, the engine on the Race is a chain driven engine. So you never have to worry about the front end of your engine. Because you have, no, not the front end, the right hand, because front would be if the vehicle is rear wheel drive. For the Race, timing chain yake iko pande hii ya right. So you would not have to really worry about replacing the entire valve train of the vehicle. But with a belt driven like the one on the 208, you have to change that belt. Otherwise, if it snaps, it will cause potential damage to the engine. Also, parts that 2008, they are not very much available. But also remember, even the Toyota Race is not very common right now. So in terms of maintenance, the 2008 requires more meticulous maintenance compared to the Race. I'm not saying it's a bad car. I'm just saying it needs more maintenance compared to a Toyota Race. So hapo kwa money pit sijui, but one thing I'll tell you is that if something goes wrong on that engine, that 1200cc engine, it will go very wrong. Yeah, so the 2008, again, if you look at the Race and the 2008 in terms of driving dynamics, you will feel that the 2008 is a bit superior in terms of how it handles and even the aesthetics and all that. But the Race is not as quick as the 2008. No, in fact, the Race and the 2008 are in terms of power output ziko pamoja. It's only that the Race does not require maintenance that is as meticulous as that of a 2008. So yes, more meticulous maintenance means that the running costs are actually a bit higher. But in terms of kupata parts, hata za Race ujue si mingi sana, especially body parts. Yeah. Then with Toyotas, you'll find that with mechanical parts, they share. You just have to know which platform your vehicle is built on, and you'll find that there's a lot of cross sharing in between the models. Tuendelee. So Modhoni, I hope that I have answered your question very well. Mashauto Limited, between CRV, RM1, AWD, and two-wheel drive, which is better? It depends on what you're using it for, because with all-wheel drive, you have better traction and better handling. If I was from personal perspective, I would go for the all-wheel drive. But remember, the all-wheel drive, slightly more fuel consumption and slightly higher cost of maintenance, because now you have a whole drivetrain to maintain hadi za huko nyuma. So meaning vitu kama center rubbers on the prop shaft, you have to maintain the rear diff. So you have some added components that would add up to the cost of maintenance. But is it worth? If you're a person who loves driving and who will sometimes go mahali tu nahitaji all-wheel drive, then yes, the all-wheel drive will make more sense. Mariogi, anaitwa nani huyu? Nimeona hiyo swali mahali. Where is this? Uh, tulikuwa na nani? Tulikuwa kwa okay. Morioki was asking, what's your perspective on the Crown S200 and S210, especially for somebody who is looking for you for it for long highway errands? Manze, Crown comfort yake bwana. Once you get into a Crown, it's hard to buy a car that has a better comfort. By the gari hizi zote unaona kutoka Mark 2, all the generations of the Mark 2 heading over to the Crown, those cars comfort, I don't know what Toyota did with those cars. They have some insane comfort, you know. Crowns are actually very, I respect Crowns. So if you're doing highway with a Crown, trust me, you're going to have fun. Julius Anari is saying, I saw an Avensis with a Valmatic engine, and is it the same one with a D4D or is it different? Can you recommend it? So we start with the Valmatic. Leo bana stai explain hizi vitu tu technically, but Valmatic is a form of stai kwenda hapo. So D4D basically is a direct injection 4-cylinder diesel engine, right? There is a debate about whether the last D means the 4 means actually. So the debate on D4D, most people argue that D4D means direct injection 4-cylinder diesel engine that is turbocharged, definitely. But others claim that D4D does not mean, the 4 does not mean 4-cylinder, it means 4-stroke. And that is what makes even bigger engines like the 1VD V8 still a D4D engine. But mimi nimesema those are claims. I cannot say that, I cannot agree nor deny, but basically D4D it means na hizo Avensis zilikuja na the D4D engines. Mostly they came with the 1ND and another one that came in a little bit later, but they are very nice. They have a lot of torque. The Valvematic, mostly if you find an Avensis with the Valvematic, I guess they came with the 3ZR. Yeah, the 2-liter 3ZR, the same engine that is on the Voxy, or the 1.8, the same one that was on the Premio, the 2ZR. So it's either one of the two. So Valvematic, you'll find Valvematic technology on mostly the ZR family of engines in Toyota. D4D is primarily most modern day Toyota diesel engines. But D4D generally need direct injection. Fuel is delivered to the cylinders through a common rail, and it's turbocharged. So if you ask me which Avensis I would buy one with a diesel engine and a manual transmission. But for ease of maintenance and for somebody who wants to move from point A to point B, just go for the Avensis with a 2ZR or a 3ZR. Sawa. Tuendelee. Ivan Wambogo is saying, between the Nissan La Festa that was rebadged Mazda Primacy, does it come with a Nissan engine and a transmission, or it's Mazda powered? Ivan Wambogo, actually the La Festa that was rebadged as a Mazda is basically a Mazda. Inakuanga hizo ma MZR. So it's basically a Mazda. It's not a Nissan, it's a Mazda. Antismo anasema, what's your take on the Peugeot 307 with the 1.6 petrol or the 2-liter diesel? Unajua juzi nilikuwa nasoma comments mahali watu wakinidiscuss, wanasema nakuanga biased towards Peugeot. Peugeots are nice cars, especially those earlier Peugeots, they were nice cars. Lakini now ikianza kupiga kiboko, that's why I always tell you guys, you see some of these vehicles, they are to be bought by people who are passionate about cars. People who want to get their hands dirty fixing them, and people who know how to get these parts. But 307s were actually nice cars, only that I feel they looked funny. But anyway, you know, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder or the beer holder if it's past 5 p.m. Sasa hiyo swali yako nasema they are not bad vehicles, but depending on who you are and what condition you actually get that car in. Hesbon Nyameti anasema Eric, why Nissan Wing Road Y11 have issues with fuel pump? Natembeanga na spares kwa boot. Najua ukiwa na shida kama hii ya Hesbon, you go to talk to someone anakuuliza na hiyo ni koloni gani? Juu kila saa kwa ukiduka petroli. Ni kama mtu wako na gari ya carburetor. But basically, the problem with fuel pumps normally emanates from there is either dirt in your tank, ama you're buying those Chinese fuel pumps that barely go for for a month. Hata the fielders sometimes inaweza kusumbua sana na fuel pump, especially if you use the Chinese ones. If you're buying the pumps, if you're buying a brand new one, go for a reputable brand. Don't go for these generic ones. And also make sure that there is no dirt in your tank. In fact, the first thing that you should do is wash your tank. Make sure you have had your tank washed. After that, tunaweza ongea kuhusu maneno ya fuel pump kuleta shida. David Kamau anasema, Ebu tell us more about the 2023 Isuzu D-Max Extra-Rain 3.0 TD and the cost of importation for the highest trim found in Kenya is the V-Cross, which cost around 8.9 mic, 0 mileage. So, David Kamau, with the D-Max, we would only get it from the Thailand market or from the South African market or from the UK market. But David Kamau, so please drop me a message. Okay, in terms of costings, I would not be able to tell it off my head because it's very long since we had somebody importing a D-Max. And these prices in Thailand, Soma kikuja labda anaweza kuwa amezipitia, ametuambia 1, 2, 3 things about them. Producer Evans Nyerere from Thika anasema Thika tuko ndani. And I told you, huyu jamaa anaitwa Evans Nyerere. I have remembered that he is a guy we used to work with when I was working in a media house. Story for another day. Kevin Kuria from Utawala is saying, first, do all Prados come with KDSS? No. Tell me the difference between Kakadu, VXL and GXL. Haya, sasa hii ni kitu napenda sana. Tuanze na kitu umeita Kakadu. Kakadu is the highest trim of the Toyota Prado in Australia. What does a Kakadu come with? A Kakadu comes with 2 diff locks, the center and the rear. A Kakadu also comes with okay, not all. These days kuna Kakadu zinakuja bila mguu kwa tailgate. So it's not necessarily that they'll come with 2 tanks. Some Kakadus will come with a spare tire under and 1 tank. So but the key identifiers for a Kakadu are 1, 2 diff locks. Secondly, a Kakadu comes with an infotainment system hadi kwa viti za nyuma, so you can plug in. And I'm talking about the Kakadu J150. So the other thing about the Kakadu is basically Kakadu is basically an updated, it's more of an updated version of the VXL. And then it comes with which infotainment system inakujanga juu najua VXL yukuja na I need to confirm. VXL yukuja na JBL or something. I'll confirm, but basically the Kakadu is the highest trim of the Prado 150 in Australia. The VXL is the highest trim of the Toyota Prado for the African market. And the VXL comes with, the ones that come with the 1KD engines inakujanga na ile whistling sound, but not all of them. The ones that are sold locally in Kenya, ziko nayo. The ones that come from South Africa, not all of them have. The other thing about the VXL, again, just like the Kakadu, it comes with 2 diff locks. They come with KDSS, they come with a cooling box as standard, and they come with a sunroof as standard. They come with 2 fuel tanks, and pia inakuja na a very good JBL sound system. So those are the unique identifiers for a Kakadu. No, for a VXL, sorry, not for a Kakadu. The other thing is ameuliza GXL. GXL is a Prado. It's a trim for the Australian market. It's a pretty rugged trim. I like it, but it only comes with 1 diff lock. Oh, the other thing about the Kakadu and the VXL, they come with a multi-terrain response. They have multi-terrain system select hapa katikati, so you can switch in between rock, sand, mud, rock, hizo vitu. hapa katikati. So if it does not come with that, it's not a Kakadu and it's not a VXL. So the GXL does not have the multi-terrain select. It does not come with 2D flocks, but it has 2 tanks. In fact, kuna watu wengi sana wanauzi wangu wa GXL in the name of a VXL. Sawa, but the GXL again is an Australian trim. Tumekubaliana hapo. Kevin Kuria, unaweza uliza any other question after hiyo nimejibu. Joe Saina is saying, please advise me between a 2018 Pajero 3200cc or a regular 2700cc. We bwana, watu wananuanga Prado za petroli bado. Why would you buy a 2700cc Prado? It's lazy, it's fuel economy, it has a drinking problem, it is slow. So if you're comparing the Pajero with a 2700cc, in fact, the only advantage of a 2700cc Prado is that it's reliable. But even the 2700cc TX, in spite of all this, I think it's the cheapest variant of the Toyota Prado. So Mimi, if you would ask me between buying a Prado, and you see, comparing the Pajero 3200cc with the Prado 2700cc is I would say is man, it is not right. We cannot do that. Please compare it to do not even compare the Pajero 3200cc with the Prado with the 2.8. Compare it with the Prado with the 1KD, the 3000cc. That is when we'll be comparing oranges to oranges. So if you compare a Prado 2700cc TX with a Pajero 3200cc, I would go for the Pajero. But if you compare a Prado with a 1KD FTV engine, the 3-liter, with a Pajero 3200cc, I would go for the Prado. The difference is worth the cost. So I think you're to go sawa. But the Pajero also has its advantages. Like, it's more comfortable, it has better handling compared to the Prado, and that is courtesy of, the Prado has a body on frame design, meaning body yake inawekelewa on that ladder chassis. But with the Pajero, it has a hybrid between a monocoque and a body on frame. So the handling is better, it has better comfort because of reduced noise, vibrations, and harshness. In physics, it's called NVH. So yeah, we would need to compare oranges to oranges. So if you compare that 200cc Pajero and a 2700, I would go for the Pajero. But if you compare it with a Prado VXL, I would go for the VXL. Tuendelee. We have Stephen Murithi saying, hello Wakabi, I'm a first-time car owner. I want to do my first service on my 2015 Subaru XV. Kindly advise what would change in a routine service. Routine service in oil filter, na air cleaner. No more oil change. So then, but always check if your brake pads are due for changing. Some of the steering components and suspension components. So also you can have the spark plugs checked kama bado ziko sawa ama zina need kubadilishwa. Card City anasema, boss, kuna any after 2015 make of Mercedes C-Class that is reliable? Hiyo swali ni swali mzuri sana. Swali mzuri sana. But wacha niseme tu, reliability is relative. Collins Muriel, as I Wakabi, would you advise me between the 2018 Peugeot 308 hatchback and the Mazda 3 2019 Golf TSI Mark 7, which is the best for a first-time car owner? Now, it depends on what is the budget here, who you first-time car owner. Peugeot 308s are cheap. That is one thing. They are not expensive. In fact, they are the cheapest kwa hizi magari umeweka hapa. So the 308, if you are looking at the budget, the 308 will be the cheapest. Now, the Mazda 3 is an amazing car. Even the driving, I think, to me, the Mazda is the closest Japanese brand to actually a European driving experience. But one thing, if you're looking at performance, and I'll say this, if you're looking at performance, then the Mark 7 will make perfect sense. Quick shifting, DSG, perfect for long drives. That is, if you're looking for performance. And also, one thing about the Mark 7, it does not only give you performance, it also gives you very good fuel economy. But it's a Mark 7 with 1.4 TSI. So if you're looking for performance, the Mark 7, performance and fuel economy, the Mark 7 will come in fast. If you're looking for a car that will give you a feeling of thrill, and again, reliability of a Japanese vehicle, plus not as expensive to maintain as a Golf, then the Mazda 10, the Mazda 3 would make sense. But siku hizi utapata maintaining a Golf is not as expensive as it used to be. Technical expertise, we are having mechanics learn these vehicles every day. So we have more technical expertise for VWs than we did 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Hasa hapa gari naona, if you're looking for, kama unatafuta budget, 308. Kama unatafuta reliability, Mazda 3. Kama unatafuta performance, Volkswagen TSI. So it narrows down to what are you looking for. Tuendelee. Ivan Wambogo is saying 1.8 yenye iko kwa CX3. Hiyo 1.8 iko kwa CX30 na some CX3 is the later models of the CX3. Nicholas anasema budget ya 1.5, what can I get? Some who like long drive. Now, Nicholas, please be specific. Do you want a sedan, crossover, ama performance hatchback? Josh Homan, thank you so much. Karibu sana again, Josh Homan. Ivan M, CK 2009 Forester SH5 versus Santa Fe 2013. Mimi kuongea tu kweli, if it's matter of personal opinion, I would tend towards the Forester. Unajua heri ule shetani unajua kushinda malaika hujui. Tuendelee. Brian Mawera is saying, Okabi, what's your take on the Subaru Levogue? The 2400cc one. Subaru Levogue iko 2000cc kweli? Yo sijaiona mimi. I don't think nimeona a Subaru Levogue with a 2.4 liter. I've not seen it in the Kenyan market, and I don't think hapana. Kunayo ilikuwa na, but those were the later, actually the last generation of the Levogue. I've not seen them in the Kenyan car market, but I think the 2. It was an F24, right? Yeah, I've not seen, to be honest, sija interact na hiyo engine. 2.4 liter, it's turbocharged, it's DIT, direct injection. So it's basically the F24 is basically an update of the, it's not the F24, it's the FA24. And you know, the previous generation came with an FA20. So the FA24 is like a bigger FA20, but to be honest, I've not interacted with that engine, so I cannot comment on it. But if we have to comment about the FA20, I don't like, the FA20 doesn't have very good cred out here. Sawa. So yes, the latest model of the Levogue has a 2.4 liter, not the previous generation, because now we are in the second generation, and I believe this is the generation where the Levogue was phased out. Iko na mataa fulani inaenda kukaa ya Subaru XV kwa umbali. So yes, I have not interacted with the FA24, but I've interacted with the FA20, and the FA20 is it does not have a very good credibility out there. Although there are people who have lived with them. The one thing I'll tell you, if you want to live vizuri na FA20 engine, be very keen on oil and be very keen on fuel. Sawa. Tuendelee vizuri. Okay. Maswali leo ni mingi sana. Peter Nganga was asking, hapo kwa diff lock, Mark X ama Crown, do they have a diff lock? No, they don't have a diff lock. Who else? Okay, Patrick Kioko. Next, Mwalimu, tell us, the next time Mwalimu tell us about which one is top of all of them. Patrick Kioko, yes, I told you hizi stories that tutaongea kuhusu hizo vitu. Francis Gakumo, advice on the Honda Accord. Yeah, Honda Accords are very nice, they are good cars, they are very good cars. Joab is saying Athiriva, asante sana Joab. Peter Nganga, mwanafunzi 001 from Republic of Saudi Arabia, asante sana Peter Nganga, karibu. Producer Nyere anasema I have a friend ananiambia Land Cruiser 300 ni model inakwama kwa soko compared to the older generation. Hey, Land Cruiser 300 shida ni bei. But tunaona J250 zinauzwa huku nje kama njugu. So I think ni bei tu, but also 300s are selling, they are become quite common on the road. We have Felix Breton, hello Wakabi, greetings from Nyeri Nyamachaki. Salimia watu wa pale Nyamachaki Primary. I know the place, ilikuwa loko yangu for quite some time. With a budget of 1 million, do I get a 2010 Toyota Crown 2.5 liter or a Mercedes W211 CDI? Yeah. Hiyo swali ni ngumu. I think it's personal preference because both are good vehicles. So Paul Chalo is saying say something, but anyway, I think you will have you have an easier time maintaining the Crown. The Crown ni gari haikufangi tu hivi. Peter Chalo, say something about Auris non-hybrid as a first-time car. Would you say about its spare parts, considering that it has been discontinued? Paul Chalo, yes, it's a nice car. In fact, buy it. About being those parts discontinued, I think people need to stop worrying because these cars were discontinued in around 2018. Sawa. Hii gari ndio ikue haina relevance Kenya. Let me take you back. Toyota 100s were discontinued mapema sana. Early 2000s, we still have spares for them. So never worry about a car. I drive a 40-year-old car and spares bado ziko. So gari kukua discontinued isiwahi kushtua. Sawa. Even Vanguards were discontinued, parts ziko. So about being discontinued should not make you worry about parts. Tuendele. Joseph Achala, hello Eric, kindly explain more about the four-wheel drive system in a Toyota Hilux double cab. Elaborate the use of H2, H4 or neutral. Now, H2 ni when you're driving the vehicle kawaida, meaning the vehicle is on two-wheel drive. When you talk about 4 high is when you're going in off-road conditions or in slippery conditions that do not necessarily need a lot of torque. But when you're using follow ni when you want. Another thing about follow is that you can use follow also as downhill descent. Naona kuna tuingie hapa kwa live chat. Pole, something happened. Okay, what happened here? Oh, sawa, I'm back online. So I was telling you, 4 high use it when 4 high ni when you're in, kama uko off-road ama kwa mahali kuna teleza, there you can use 4 high. But mahali unaenda kwa rocks ama kwa a very steep incline, very steep descent, basically very challenging off-road terrain, there you would need to use follow. But follow is, you find that even your speed is capped in at around 15 kilometers per hour on follow. But 4 high, it can go a little bit faster on 4-wheel drive. Sawa. Neutral, it means it's not engaged. Sawa. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Naona masaa inaenda sana. So before I answer even any more questions, maybe as I answer the following question, Tom is going to join us so that we can have an update about what KRA is saying about the new CRSP and what we should expect. So we are going to continue na nitaenda kujibu maswali as Tom joins us on set here. Omuga Ondaro is saying, can you share the CRSP list and tell us where to get it? Omuga, it is on the KRA's official website. We have Kevin Courier. Having heard the difference between Kakadu, VXL and GXL, advise me on the price difference and what to go for. The Kakadu is the most expensive. Kakadu ni inakuanga the most expensive kwa zote, followed by VXL, and we also have the TZG. So I think it will be a matter of personal preference. Fred Kiki, hello Okabi. with the new CRSP will how will it affect the Honda Freed? Hiyo tutaangalia. Hiyo I would have to check that, and again that list of new CRSP is on the KRA website. Polycarp Dominion, hello, I'm interested in having a Subaru Levogue GTS Eyesight model 2017. Naweza ipata na range ngapi? Please advise. For that we would need to check the market. You need to check the market on that. Brand KB, what's your take on the Subaru Forester SH5 for a first time car owner? It's not a bad car. Omuga Odaro, can you share? Hiyo nisha jibu. Joe Madhenge joined us from Gilgil a while back. Brand is saying, hello Okabi, would you advise someone to take a locally used 2016 Levogue STI? If not, which would be the perfect alternative? Yes, if you're looking for performance, the Levogue would make a good vehicle, but we'll make sure imeangaliwa sana. But also remember, we offer services such as pre-purchase inspection, so unaweza tuita tuiangalie tuichambue. So now we have Bwana Tom. Mr. Tom ako hapa, he has joined us. Mr. Tom, I don't know if guys are ready. Watupatie view ya Mr. Tom hapa. Yes, very nice. I can see Tom is okay. Yeah, Tom ametujoin hapa vizuri sana. Mr. Tom.
Yes.
Niaje?
Poa sana.
Sasa mambo ya update. Unajua watu wamesema wakuja akasema KRA kunaenda aje. So and I think it was some sort of relief for many as the High Court halted the implementation up to when there is a hearing that is on July 17th.
Yes.
About the CRSP.
Yeah.
Also we saw KRA saying they are going to review the CRSPs for the Volkswagen models. So nyinyi watu hamna bahati. We might be going back to Volkswagen still being more expensive. But Tom, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Yes.
Tupatie hizo updates bana. It has been a long 2 weeks.
Yes, kuna list inatembea though it's not official. Ya the Volkswagens. Duties zimepanda sana for the Volkswagens.
Sana. The keyword ni sana.
Yes, sana. The ones that we thought at least people would rush to. Naona kama zile ma comfort line. Actually yenye imeaffectwa sana hizo ma R-line. TDI R-line imeongezewa na over 1 million. Yes, from around 1.1 to 2.2 million. The TDI R-line. Same to the TSI R-line. Sai duty yake iko around 1.55 million. So zimeongezeka.
Yeah, but again we are going to tutawachambulia once it's official.
Yeah. Hiyo ni vitu ziko mtaani. Kuna list inatembea.
Hizo ni vitu za mtaa.
Hizo ni documents zimepitia tu kwa boardrooms zikatufikia.
But zikishakuwa official pale kwa website, hata sisi tutapatia na official communication. But that is the word on the street.
Yes, walisema it was an error.
Hata Pujo nilikwambia
oversight on their end.
Nilikwambia, I also told you about hata hii Pujo. Ngoja tu.
I hope hataguza Pujo bana. At least we have something some makes to run to.
Wacha tungoje.
Wacha tungoje tuone.
The other thing, Tom, is yes, the High Court has halted the implementation of the new CRSP. But what's your opinion? Unajua mimi hiyo kitu did not give me so much relief because we have also a CRSP case from 2020 still in the courts.
Yes, which has already actually ni kama ishakuwa implemented because when they were given the communication regarding the halting of the current CRSP, the 2025 CRSP, they said the status quo remains and they quoted the 2019 CRSP. So it means we've been using the 2019 CRSP yenye iko kwa koti. Yeah, because they said tunaendelea kutumia 2019. So it means that year 2025 it will find its way to us.
Haya, kitu imeletwa na jamaa anaitwa Matt hapa. He's saying, I saw a notice by Kebs about bringing cars not more than 20 years. Your comments. So Matt, and guys need to understand this very well. Kebs issued a notice and they are going to allow importation of cars not older than 20 years, but this is only for special purpose vehicles. Special purpose vehicles ni nini? Ile kitu ya kudrill borehole, gari kama ambulance.
Yes.
Although pia ambulance
iko on the fence.
Iko on the fence because there's a way you can argue that an ambulance is not a special purpose vehicle, and there's a way you can still argue that it is a special purpose vehicle. Si ndio, Tom?
Yes.
So hiyo pia iko on the fence. But special purpose vehicles, borehole drilling machines, hii kitu ingine itangwa nini? Hata fire trucks pia ni special purpose vehicles.
Na the road graders hizo are they special?
Hizo si zikuanda machinery.
Machinery,
Zile za number KHM.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically a vehicle that is built with a special purpose.
Yes, for a special purpose.
For a special purpose. But it does not end there. Ukileta hiyo gari lazima uproduce list ya services for hiyo gari. It must be serviceable. So it is not as easy as people think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Si rahisi venye watu wanafikiria. Naona kuna swali unaulizwa pale na mtu anaitwa Jose Nderi. Anasema, Tom, when you import with Grande Motor Imports, does the vehicle get number plate ready when it arrives to Mombasa, or it will still have the KD? Expecting something with Tom. Kuna kitu anasema ana expect something with Tom.
Yeah, kwa swali yake, number plate inatokanga after we are done with the clearing process. It's actually the last step after the unit has been released by KRA. After you get the release, customs release, we launch the number plate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the last step. And you sasa unapewa logbook. It's registration ndio ya mwisho kabisa.
But kitu wanafaa ajue, sometimes there are delays with the getting the physical number plates.
Yes. The utapewa number, yes, kwa system. Allocation utapata same day, but with the physical plates inaweza take a bit of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even Wambogo naona hata anajua nini. Anajua hizo vitu, firefighting engines, agricultural machinery. So hizo ndizo special purpose vehicle. So najua wangesema car is not less than 20 years. Mimi pale ningeenda pale nishike 100 100 zimepita 20 years.
Hizo zimegongwa na miaka.
Hizo unalesa uchukue Mark 2 GX110. Uende pale tununue Toyota Hiace. Zile za kitambo zilikuja na 2KD. Kebs pia ni wajanja
sana.
Ni wajanja. So kuna swali ingine ya imports tafadhali. Questions on imports. Question. Any other question on any imports?
Let me see.
Sijaona swali ingine. So as we wrap up, Tom, what should we expect? By the way, wase, these are the questions as Jajibu. I'll take note of them and we are going to have them next Wednesday because Paul, tulikuwa tumeenda breaks, hata tulikuwa tumefunga season anyway. We had done so from January to tumekuwa tukifanya live. So ni vizuri tumepumzika 2 weeks, sasa tumerudi with more energy. So Tom, what do we expect as we wrap up?
On the CRSP, we can only give a stand after 17th.
Yes.
We don't know whether the demands in that case will be met, because we are asking the person who needs the case is asking for more time, because kuna gari zenye watu walikuwa shanza kuimport. They're asking for 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can only give a position after the mention on 17th of July.
And now, what people need to realize is that what this case is about is about more time. Not suspending this thing.
Yeah.
It's about more time. And I'll tell you something about this thing. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Zoea hiyo CRSP. Zoea na mapema. Insert to all his voice. Even Wambugu was saying, are they going to do a public participation?
Yeah, actually one of the things that they've mentioned there is that the CRSP did not undergo the process for public participation. Wanasema iliitwa tu watu kidogo, then watu wakapitisha.
Mbio, teke. Sasa kuna jamaa anaitwa Willy anasema he needs to import a diesel vessel. Hiyo hutapata ya diesel vessel, hiyo unless upate UK under the name Honda HRV.
Yeah.
Sindio? Another one, Chege Kento is asking, Grade Motor Imports, 3 years bado machine ni safi, highly recommended. Kuna mtu uliletea gari hapo 3 years anasema mali bado ni safi.
Naikumbuka vizuri Chege, nililetea Mazda Axela.
Very nice, very nice.
I can't forget.
Gari po. So Mr. Tom unaulizwa, are all people with tax exemption and with a KRA certificate eligible for free importation?
Free importation.
Free importation then is free.
Tax free exemption ya taxes. Yeah, I think anamaanisha hivyo. Yeah, kama uko na the certificate na tax exemption,
yes,
you are eligible, but kuna other things that they look at. You have to be, your accounts should show that you are able to buy the car that you'll be buying, because they'll ask for statements, back statements, the 6 months, kuona kama flow yako ya income ina tally na what you are buying.
Yes,
to avoid people living with disability to import cars duty free.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Sasa nilikuwa naona basi by the way mkumbuke kuna super chat pale. Mnaweza gonga super chat as we by the way, kama unapiga super chat naongeza nini na 5 minutes hadi 9:30. Watu wapige tu ka super chat angalau ama namna gani wasi. Wanasema ati ukileta gari ataleta na Grande Motor Imports.
Karibu sana.
So naona ni mtu wa waxing. Waxing nasikianga ni uchungu. Okay. Dennis Katali anasema I have a colleague in the military, ndiye anasema nimuulizie. Military bado wako na tax exemption ya importation ya magari? Hapana. Sidhani wako nayo.
Wanalipa tu duty.
But watu wa the defense forces wameona siku mrefu sana jana.
Nimesikia lunch is not free.
Wameambiwa lunch hapana bana. But I feel they deserve to have that lunch.
Yeah.
They deserve, these people protect us from a lot.
Sure.
These people protect us from a lot. So guys, super chat manze. Sioni mtu wa super chat. Na watu Joyfrey Kamau anasema Hyundai Palisade is becoming common. Any thoughts? Palisades are nice cars. They are nice cars. They are very safe.
Yes, I've seen several on our roads.
Ziko. So also another super chat from Fred Kiki. Asante sana Fred. Asante sana. Thank you. Very nice. Kuna jamaa anayesema Tom is a great man. I already asked him to source several units and we chose. Thank you in advance.
Karibu.
So Deadly Esports anasema SK9 imepanda ama imeshuka. SK9 hata ikuwa kwa CRSP mzee.
Ikuwa kwa the old one.
Sasa ndio imewekwa. But iko sawa. Ati Ching Frederick anasema ati kama lunch wanalipia kuimport gari. Sasa acheni kucheka. He's a serious matter. So I think it's 9:20.
Hata wasamea.
Para. Inchi tukaze mshipi.
For sure.
Tukaze mshipi kila mtu. John Kangosing anasema quote ya leo Scott Kilmer, the financier they look the fancier they look, the more expensive they are to fix, which is true. Unajua sasa bwana, uzuri wa hizi gari zetu za kitambo, hata engine swapping is very easy. Squeeze lazima uprogram. Kuna gari ukiweka gearbox nyingine after ile inaikataa, you must sijui calibrate, do what. Bana, too many problems. So I think kuna mtu anakuuliza how much will it cost to import a Volkswagen Touareg 2022. Joma Thenge, drop a WhatsApp message kwa hiyo WhatsApp number iko hapo, then we will be able to reach out to you. Sababu sasa ku give quotations za gari hiyo pia lazima tujue ni trim gani, diesel, petrol, there are other things that really determine on price and also the quality. So I think Tom, tunaweza enda home.
Yes.
Tunaweza enda home. And I think we need to by the way, tomorrow we have a video that will be coming in at 8 p.m. So be sure it's a very nice video. It's talking about some of the crossover SUVs that you can get below 1 million Kenya shillings. We are trying also to focus on wale watu wananunua gari zako. You know, these days most Kenyans when you're buying a car anakuambia nataka gari iko juu. Gari iko raised. Nataka gari inaweza enda ushago. So those are the cars that we are going to be talking about on tomorrow's video. And hizo gari ziko juu zinaweza enda ushago but for less than 1 million. So tomorrow, stay tuned by the way. Niliwaambia kuna changes and also there's something that we are going also to launch in the coming 2 weeks. I hope mtatu join sababu tutawa invite. Also the guys who are asking for merchandise, next week nikuja live, nitakuja nimevaa kitu moto. Alafu mtuambie kama mnataka hizo, so mnaweza, we can always organize on that. Sawa. So Dennis bana wachana na maneno ya KDF. Maneno ya KDF. Tom.
Yes.
Acha tuende nyumbani. But it has been a good show, bana. We had missed going live for the last 2 weeks. And we are happy to always have you guys. So remember, we offer services such as pre-purchase inspection, consultation, na pia direct importation through our strategic partnership with Grande Motor Imports. Na asanteni sana for your continued support. Tutaendelea hivi. See you next week on Wednesday. And next week we have a video tomorrow at 8 p.m. So once it hits your premiere tomorrow morning, just click on the button because I'm sure it's going to appeal to so many of you. Sawa. So the video is going to be on and it's going to be quite an amazing and insightful video kama kawaida. And then on Monday, it should be the day to wait for sababu tutakuwa na ile trip yetu ya Marsabit in the 1985 Isuzu Trooper. Trooper siku hizi inatembea vibaya sana huko. So that's all something to look forward to. And as usual, asante sana. Thank you so much for always making our Wednesday evenings. So over and out, and see you on Wednesday. But kesho mkumbuke kuna video, na Monday tena kuna video ingine moto sana.